Hello again, Dimitro, and welcome to another video. And this one's going to be something video game related. But before I start, I just want to say, hope you enjoyed my previous video yesterday of me talking about the 13th anniversary of new Doctor Who. You know what I mean? Because obviously, yesterday was the anniversary, and I thought I wanted to make a quick video. So I just want to say, hope you enjoyed that video anyway. So this one is going to be video game related, and it's going to be about just me rambling on. I think this me my thoughts about stuff, but also this is going to be about the next generation of gaming consoles and backwards compatibility. And the thing about when it comes to a new generation of gaming is that there's lots of people that always like to be answered and asked. I always love to ask one question and to get an answer from that. And that is, will we see backwards compatibility? Now, the thing with the next generation, which we are sort of in with the Nintendo Switch, but we also have, the future consoles coming up. We have, Atari with their Atari VCS, which is coming out, which they obviously recently showed more information, but also more info and the controls for it. So obviously that's, still on the way, so it is. But we also have Sony with the PlayStation 5. I think they'll probably call it that, won't they? It's not like they're gonna call it PlayStation Triangle, you know what I mean? That'd be a bit of a weird name, but I think they're going to call it PlayStation 5, like the continue the cycle. And then we got the Xbox 2 from Microsoft. Now, I don't know if they're going to call it that, but that's just what, sort of makes me think that it's going to be Xbox 2. So, thinking about it with the 9th generation, as I said, which we are currently in with the Nintendo Switch, but we are also in the 8th generation with PlayStation 4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One, and Xbox One X. Now, thinking with the 9th generation, which will be the Nintendo Switch, the Atari VCS, Sony PlayStation 5, and Microsoft Xbox 2. And just sharing about my views and stuff, seeing if we will ever get backwards compatibility. Pardon me, sorry. With those consoles. So I'll start with the Nintendo Switch first. Now, the Nintendo Switch is interesting because of the fact for Nintendo, it sort of broke the line ever since the Wii with backwards compatibility. Because the Wii was Nintendo's first home console to ever have backwards compatibility in the machine. So it was. And with the Wii, for a number of years, obviously had GameCube compatibility in it. So basically how it worked was that Nintendo actually had GameCube hardware in the Nintendo Wii, which made it easy to play those games on. So you could connect your controllers to it and your memory cards, insert the disc, and it would basically boot into a dedicated GameCube mode on the machine. And it would run like if it was a regular GameCube because it had 100% hardware compatibility in the machine, which was a good thing to have. And that's why a lot of people loved playing, GameCube games on the Wii, which was great. It really, really was. And unfortunately, they took that feature out in the revision model in 2011, where there was no GameCube compatibility. And then obviously the Wii Mini obviously didn't have that either. So then we go to the Wii U, and the Wii U had Wii hardware in the machine, which made the compatibility easy to play. So just like with the Wii, with the GameCube, just like with the GameCube mode on the Wii, the Wii U would boot up into a dedicated Wii mode. So obviously all the apps are there, the shop channel and all that sort of stuff is there. And obviously you can access all those games, obviously, from yesterday, the 26th of March, from now, obviously you cannot add any points, but if you still got Wii points on there, you can purchase them with games until January 2019, so at least, you got that. But, like I said, all your discs, your game discs works, everything works. And the one thing I liked that Nintendo did was that they allowed you to transfer everything from the Wii to the Wii U, which again, you still have that feature until next year. And if you add a bunch of Master System or Mega Drive or TurboGrafx games, you could transfer them over and then play them on the Wii U via the Wii mode, which was a nice thing to do. Now, obviously, the Nintendo Switch doesn't have that. You know what I mean? Obviously, it would be sort of impossible for that to happen. Because the fact that the Switch uses different forms of media than the Wii U. Because the Wii U used obviously a Wii U proprietary disc format for the games. And the Nintendo Switch uses like small game card games for the format. And obviously there's no slot on there to put the Wii U games on, to play them. So obviously it's quite impossible to, do that. Even if Nintendo released a Wii U disc drive, and imagine like doing that on the go, that you've got this game and then you've got all these wires and you've got this disc drive, hanging around. It'd be a stupid thing for Nintendo to do. So the nearest you've actually got to playing Wii U games on the Switch are through ports, because we've seen many games from the Wii U be ported over to the Switch. But that's the nearest you're ever going to get it. And then we've also got the Virtual Console, which I think will be like the nearest you'll ever get to some sort of backwards compatibility on the machine. Unfortunately, we don't really have that. We have like sort of like Neo Geo games, which is good, but it's not really, Virtual Console. And it would be great to see Virtual Console released on the Switch, you know what I mean? Because I know not only do people want to play these old games on a new console, but a lot of people might not have never tried these games, you know what I mean? Because obviously now, you know what I mean, you cannot add any more points on the Wii shop. So your other options are the Wii U or the 3DS, or even the new 3DS for that matter. So yeah, that's just the way it goes. Will we ever see it in the far future? I hope so. I really, really hope so. It'd be good that, you know what I mean? Because people do want it, you know what I mean? I can't really say an estimate, I can't really put a date on, but it'd be great to see whenever it is happening. So we'll go on to the Atari VCS. Now this is actually an interesting one because of the fact that Atari actually has old classics coming to the console. Now the one thing about it, obviously it doesn't have any physical media, so it's going to be a digital-only console. And the nearest we're ever going to get to see some sort of like backwards compatibility, if you want to call it that, is through the digital service. Now they have informed that, told us all that they are going to be releasing, games from the Atari 2600, which is a nice thing to do. And obviously Atari is going to be using emulation, is that they're going to build an emulator that gets the games running. But will they expand that, like Atari classics, you know what I mean, on the Atari VCS? I honestly think they should do. I think they should add games from their other platforms, such as the 5200, the 7800, the Jaguar CD, the Lynx, as well as games from their computer line from like the 80s, and you know what I mean. That'd be a really, really nice thing to do. And if they offered that, you know what I mean, that would actually really, really be a great package. That you get all the new games, but you get all of the, the old ones, and it'd be like sort of like an Atari Classics console. You know what I mean? Not just having games from the 2600. You'd have them from the other systems, and I think also with the Lynx as well, that'd be a really, really good thing. To play these games from the Atari Lynx, which were handheld portable games, and play them on the television. That would be really, really good to see. Something similar to like the Game Boy Advance or the DS Virtual Console for the Wii U, where you're playing these Atari games, where you're playing Atari Lynx games on the Atari VCS, you know what I mean, with a modern controller, and I think that'd be really, really good. Also, none of the games have ever been re-released, you know what I mean? And that would be a bloody great thing to have, you know what I mean? I'd love to see that happen. Another thing that sort of makes me wonder is the Jaguar. Now, the Jaguar, from what I've heard, is quite a difficult machine to emulate, so it is. And because of that, will Atari ever get round that? You know what I mean? Will they ever try and emulate the Jaguar console onto the Atari VCS. And if Atari's looking into it, that'd be a really, really good thing to do. But I'm not sure if they're ever going to do that. You know what I mean? Because I know there's actually a lot of great games from that console that would be really, really good to see. But then also you got to think about like licensing and stuff, because when you look at like, you know, the Xbox, you know, backwards compatibility, or the PS2 and the PS4 program, both Sony and Microsoft need to go to these companies and ask them to get these old games on. And that's another thing that they do and stuff. Which sort of worries me on that. I know they've got a few franchises that they're able to do because it's their own franchises. But it makes me think that, you know what I mean, will they be able to, you know, to do that stuff? But it'd be a nice thing to think about. And I think same with the Jaguar CD and stuff. Now, I don't know if that's difficult to emulate, because again, I've not really got into the Jaguar, but into the Jaguar CD. But that'd be a nice bonus to have as well. You know what I mean? Have those games as well. But we'll have to see what happens and stuff. I hope that Atari releases some sort of like Atari Virtual Console. Obviously, don't call it Virtual Console, but call it like the Atari Classics. You know, something like that. That'd be a really, really good thing to see. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, the next one is Sony PlayStation 5. Now, this is, again, another interesting one, because obviously PlayStation 4 doesn't have any sort of physical backwards compatibility. But it does have PS2 classics on PlayStation 4, which I quite like. I really, really quite like the ability to, you know, purchase some of these old classics from the PS2 and play them on PlayStation 4. I really, really like it, but the list is quite limited, and it's sort of anemic for a service that's been out for almost over 2 years. Pardon me. And because of that, it sort of worries me. I know that Sony has to go through these different companies and get the licensing sorted out, but there's so many games on there that you should be able to play. You know, you should be able to emulate them, you know, port, whatever, emulate them on PlayStation 4. Like, I love to see, you know, Gran Turismo 3 and 4 on there. That'd be an amazing thing to do, but I don't know. But with PlayStation 5, it, obviously, I think, obviously, it will be able to play, you know, PS4 games. Now, I know there's been sort of, like, talks and stuff about it's going to be using the same architecture, because it uses x86, so it does. And I think because of that, it will make it easy for PlayStation 5 to play PlayStation 4 games. If it uses the same architecture, it would be able to play them easy. So basically, it would be hardware-based compatibility of PS4 games on PlayStation 5. So you wouldn't have to build any sort of emulator to do that. But also include the PS4 Pro enhancements, which is a good thing. Because it would be sort of pointless if you left those behind and said, oh, well, for those that want a PS4 Pro enhancements, you need an actual PS4 Pro. That'd be a stupid thing to do. So I think that they'll do that. You know what I mean? Basically, have hardware-based PS4 compatibility, but also have those Pro enhancements be made compatible as well on PlayStation 5, which would be a great thing to do. The other consoles, I'll get onto the PlayStation 3 in a minute, but I think the original PlayStation and the PS2 would be easy for them to emulate. You know what I mean? Basically, build a PS1 emulator as well as a PS2 emulator to get it to read those games, but also give people the choice, or give people the offer to transfer everything over. So, for example, if you are someone that owns a lot of, or purchased a lot of digital games on PlayStation 4, give owners the option to, for us to upgrade to PlayStation 5, and then we can transfer everything over. But do you know what would be really, really good? Day one transfer feature. That would be bloody amazing, because that was something you needed with the PlayStation 4 when it came out. You know what I mean? That you couldn't do that with the PlayStation from PS3 to PS4. Obviously, you're doing that from PlayStation 4 to PS4 Pro, but not the other way around. So that would be a nice thing to do. So if anyone's purchased a lot of PS2 classics, PlayStation Network games. They transfer all over, which would be a good thing to do. Also, I think would be great is to have PS1 and PS2 classics on there as well, but also offer the a disc-based compatibility option as well, so that if people want to play these games, you can either say, well, I have the physical version of it, or I can purchase it digitally, and that's just the way it goes, and I can do that and stuff, and that'd be a nice option to do. So that'd be great to have PS1, PS2, PS4 and PS4 Pro compatibility on PlayStation 5. Now, PS3 is an interesting one because, as we all know, it's quite difficult, to emulate and stuff. Even though there is that PS3 emulator that's on PC, it's been going through several years and stuff. And I know that Sony was looking into doing backwards compatibility. And I think overall, they might end up including PS3 emulation or PS3 compatibility in the machine if they're able to fully crack it. But you might think, well, if they include it for PlayStation 5, why didn't they include it for PlayStation 4? The sad truth is, the PlayStation 4 is not powerful enough to even emulate PS3 games. They just aren't. So I think that we could see, both disc-based PS3 compatibility, but I think we could also see PS3 classics on there. Again, Sony, could give you the option to either, put the disc in or purchase it digitally if you wanted to, which would be a smart move to do. Because I know a lot of people wanted to play those games on the PlayStation 4, even the PS4 Pro. But that'd be a smart move for Sony to do, basically include everything in it. Because I know a lot of people, when it comes to backwards compatibility, they like it, but a lot of people, they think, oh, this is really, really good, and they never touch it, But also Sony, is more interested in getting new games out and new experiences rather than focusing on the old all the time and stuff. It's nice to go back, but a lot of people want to play these old games on new hardware. It's just the way it goes, And I can't blame them. So that would be a good thing to do, if Sony does that with backwards compatibility. So basically, you'd have all the, the games on it and stuff, and that's, so you'd be able to play PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS4 Pro, and PS5 on PS5, Really, really good. And then we get to Microsoft with the Xbox 2, if you want to call that. Again, I don't know what they're going to call it. But the thing I think with Microsoft is I think they will include backwards compatibility easily, since the Xbox One has it, It's had it for a couple of years. I think if Microsoft does use the same architecture as the Xbox One, the x86, we could see that easily, make it compatible with every Xbox One game, as well as the Xbox One X enhancements, which would be really, really good for the Xbox 2. Then, obviously, you've got the Xbox 360 and the original Xbox. And obviously, I think Microsoft will easily build an emulator for both systems, separate emulators, that obviously allow them to, rebuild it and stuff and make it easy for them to do, So they will probably build an Xbox 360 emulator on the Xbox 2, I don't know if they're going to call it that, and then the same for the original Xbox, build an emulator for that, for the new system. And then you get all your software and everything in it and stuff. But whether or not they do use the same architecture, I think they could emulate it, So, they probably might make, again, this is just speculation, just me guessing and stuff. If that were the case, they'd probably build an Xbox One X emulator, and then basically sort of, if it's an Xbox One game with no enhancements, it sort of like downgrades it to the Xbox One. And then you can play the Xbox 2, That's what they do. And I was saying the same thing about with the PlayStation 5 is, if they did that with the PlayStation 4 emulator, that the smart move would be to build a PS4 Pro emulator and then sort of downgrade it if it's just a regular PlayStation 4 game with no enhancements. On PlayStation 5, that'd be a smart move to do for it. And I think one last thing I want to talk about is the sort of formats of media and stuff. Because as we all know, the Nintendo Switch uses game cards, and the Atari VCS is going to be digital-only system. I think for both PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2, I wonder if they'll go to sort of like a next-generation Blu-ray. So instead of Blu-ray, they might go to maybe 4K Blu-ray, that they use the sort of 4K BD-ROM to obviously make the games larger and stuff, but also give you the compatibility to play Blu-rays on it and DVDs. Will it include CDs? I don't know, you know what I mean? Probably not, but maybe for Sony, if they have, you know, CD playback in PlayStation 5 that makes it play original PlayStation games. You know what I mean? I don't know. But maybe we might see next generation one, maybe we might see the 4K Blu-ray be the format, if they are fully getting into 4K as well. But that's just my thoughts about that, really. So it's, you know what I mean, about could we see that happen. But yeah, it's just an interesting little thing I want to talk about and stuff with backwards compatibility and the next generation. So I just want to say, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit long, sorry, but I talk a lot, so I do. So I'm really, really sorry for that if anyone's not happy about that. But I just want to say, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I might do another one for handheld consoles, and you know, for the far future. I think that's definitely one I want to do. But I just want to say, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later on. Bye. Bye. My next video will be on Thursday. My next video will be on Friday with Alex Francis, and then obviously my regular video on Saturday will be on that as well. So I just want to say, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later. Bye.